Hello everyone, it's Sophia, and today I'm doing my 2025 reading wrapped. It's one of my favorite videos to film because I get to talk about all of the books that I read the year prior, and this last year I read 25 books in total. That was my reading challenge for 2025, and luckily I completed that literally the day that the challenge was ending, which was December 31st. I have a lot of books to get through, so let's just get started with number one. The first book I read is called Daydream, and it's by Hannah Grace. It's part of the Maple Hills book series. This one is about Henry Turner, which he was seen in the other, or read about, I guess you could say, in the other Maple Hills books. So now this is finally his love story with Hallie Jacobs. Hallie loves to read. He's very smart and academically driven. Henry is really struggling with one of his classes because he finds that one of his professors is very rude, and he's also been procrastinating a lot, so he ends up needing a tutor. Come Hallie, she ends up tutoring him as his private tutor, and they basically fall in love, just like the other Maple Hills books. This one actually rated a 5-star. That's pretty big. I don't know, I'd probably have to reread it to see. I think maybe now I'd give it maybe a 4, 4.5 from what I can remember, but I mean, clearly in the moment I really liked it, so I don't know, maybe it is 5 stars. Before I get into the other books, if you're wondering why I don't have the physical copies for most of them, that's either because I read them at a library or an audiobook version, so I don't have all of these books. That'd be a lot. The next one, which kind of goes along with this, is called Mile High, and it's by Liz Tom Ford. Because I read her other book, The Right Move, and I liked that one. This one, well, I'll tell you what it's about. The premise of this one is that Xanders is a really good hockey player. He's really egotistical. Basically just think of a jock, like any jock ever, stereotype. We have Stevie. She is a flight attendant, and she has been a flight attendant for different like sports leagues. Okay, I really did not like this book. I read it as an audiobook, so I don't know if maybe that didn't help. I just didn't like it. I didn't feel like they were that good together. I didn't think that the start of their relationship was interesting, or I don't know, just didn't really make sense. And it started out with her not liking him, but then he kind of liked her, but then he was kind of messing around. I don't know, but this just was not for me. I was not enjoying listening to this book, and I gave it 3 stars. Would I give it 3 stars now? I don't know. Maybe if I read it as opposed to hearing it, I would like it better. I don't know. My expectations are not high on this one. I just didn't like it. So, 3 stars. Another audiobook that I read is called The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This one is about Hannah Brooks. She is kind of like world-renowned bodyguard. She's been a bodyguard for a lot of different people, especially celebrities. And Jack Stapleton is a celebrity. He ends up needing a bodyguard, and she becomes his bodyguard. How many times can I say the word? Anyway, so at first it goes pretty normal, pretty standard procedure, but then he has an ex-girlfriend that he really wants to get rid of because she keeps bothering him, so then he has Hannah act like his fake girlfriend, or I guess trick everybody into thinking that that's his real girlfriend, and they end up liking each other and becoming a real couple. This one, I just didn't find that interesting. I don't know if I just didn't like how it was written, or if I don't know, I just didn't really feel attached to the characters. I didn't really care that they got together. I don't know. Their story just wasn't interesting to me. I think it had a cool plot, especially with her being the bodyguard. I gave it 3 stars. Next up, some of my favorite books I read this year is the first book in the series called Binding 13, the Boys of Tommen series. If you have heard of it, it's really popular, I believe, on TikTok. This is where I found it from. But it is really good, lives up to the hype, honestly. Highly, highly, highly recommend. This one I read as an ebook, and I just loved it so much. This one covers Shannon Lynch's story, and she at home is abused by her dad, as is like the rest of her family. They're also getting abused by their dad mainly. And she just has a really hard home life, and she initially was going to a public school, but then she was getting bullied for so many years, so then she ends up transferring to this new school where she's walking along I think it's called like the rugby field. She's walking along the rugby field and the rugby players happen to be playing there when all of a sudden Johnny Kavanaugh throws a ball and it hits her, and then she falls, and then he ends up taking care of her at the nurse's office, and then just becomes obsessed with her, and they end up falling in love. And it's such a good book. It's really, really sad because it really goes deep into the abuse storyline, and also like how her siblings are getting abused, and also how her older brother Joey Lynch, who also ends up having his own book, kind of like his struggles, but it's still mainly centered around Shannon. And yeah, it's just so good, and I just love the community, like the group of friends that they end up having is just chef's kiss. It's perfect. I love it. 5 stars. The book after that was the second one in the book series, which is called Keeping 13. It's a continuation of Binding 13. Same characters, same couple. It's just them actually fully getting together, because in the end of the last one, I forgot to say, they actually technically weren't together yet, I believe, because some stuff happened, so I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, Keeping 13, same thing, 5 stars, just a continuation of their story with a little bit have a happier ending. Keep in mind, some of the characters' names are a little bit hard to read at first or pronounce because the story is set in Ireland, so a lot of the names are Irish, like Aoife, spelled Aoife. There is a pronunciation guide at the beginning of the book. I didn't really go back to it, so sometimes I was just making up my own version of how to say the names. But still, I absolutely recommend the series. I guess I got a lot of romance books at the beginning of the year, but the next one I read is called Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. She also has a book called, I think it's Part of Your World is what it's called. That one I actually talked about in my last reading wrapped. I didn't really like it, but this one is different. This one has the same character, like side character from the other book. Her name is Dr. Brianna Ortiz. Brianna has a lot of things going on in her life. She's finalizing her divorce. Her brother is running out of time to get a kidney donor. And then she also is trying to get a promotion in her job at the hospital, but it seems like it's going to go to the other doctor, Jacob. At first, she does not like him at all. It's a little bit enemies to lovers, except she was one that didn't like him. It wasn't mutual, like he liked her. He ends up writing her letters, and so they get to talking more. She realizes, wait, he's not as bad as I thought that he was going to be. Towards the end of the book, he actually tells her that he is going to donate his kidney to save her brother. By the way, it's not a spoiler, it says it as part of the plot. I really, really liked this one. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars, which is a big improvement from the last one. I don't know if it's just because it's her second book. I just liked her writing better this time. I don't know, but I was really interested in the characters and I was rooting for them. Another one by Abby Jimenez is Just for the Summer. This one was all over my TikTok. I felt like I had to read it because everybody was hyping it up. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good book. It was about the 2 characters, Justin and Emma. Justin and Emma both have this really weird niche problem where every one of their exes, after they date them, finds the love of their life. And so he posts about it on social media, and she DMs him saying, this is really weird, but I have the exact same issue. And so they decide, wait, let's meet up, hang out, let's see if we can get together, and then break up, and hopefully we will both find the love of our life, trench the system. And so Emma is really used to traveling all the time. She doesn't really stay in one place. After a few months, she'll work somewhere else, which means that she'll move to a different state or a different place. And Minnesota ended up being the place that she chose to live in, which is where Justin lives. Have a few dates. They really, really like each other, so they keep on going on more dates. He ends up having to take care of his 3 siblings, so then that kind of brings a little bit of hardship to the relationship. She has a really crazy mom, and so that also kind of stops her from really starting the relationship. So both of those things mixed together kind of prevents them from being together for a little bit, but in the end, as always, they come through and live happily ever after. And I really liked this book. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, in the sense of, I guess, how much people said that they loved it or just enjoyed it, which, again, it was a good book, but I don't think that it was as good as people were saying it was. So maybe if I hadn't read those reviews. I would have liked it. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have come into it with such a big expectation. I think that was my problem. Overall though, still enjoyed it. I still would recommend it. After that, I read A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is part of the ACOTAR series. If you haven't heard of ACOTAR, I don't know. You have not been online in the past couple of years. It's a super popular book series. It starts with A Court of Thorns and Roses. So this one was just a continuation of the series. If you haven't read the first one, like the second one won't really make sense. So I'll just read a quick synopsis of the first one, and that is what I'll give you. When 19-year-old huntress Feyre kills a wolf in the woods, a terrifying creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows about only from legends, Feyre discovers that her captor is not truly a beast, one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled her world. Okay, the next book I actually have is called A Serial Killer's Guide to San Francisco, and this one is by Michelle. Oh, I'm not going to pronounce that right, so I'm not going to say it. It's about a woman named Capri Sanzio. She is actually related to William Sanzio, who in this book is also known as Overkill Bill, and he's a really famous serial killer. For a living, she gives serial tours of the city, and what ends up happening is that a copycat murder suddenly is discovered, and she becomes really interested in it when her mother-in-law Sophia is the next victim of one of the copycat murders. Since Capri is kind of in the middle of all of it, because she's related to not only Sophia but also the copycat murder technically, because it was copycat for granddads. Since Capri is involved via family, she becomes really interested in the murders, so she tries to get to the bottom of what happened. Meanwhile, her and her daughter end up becoming the prime two suspects. So this book I really enjoyed. It was fun. It's a pretty quick read. It's not long at all. Yeah, it's like 300 pages, a little bit over that. But, I mean, it was a good read. It's a YA, so it doesn't get super deep into it. It's not gory or anything if you don't like violence. I thought it was a good book. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I also have, it is called Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I mean, iconic Emily Henry. Who doesn't know her? Nora is a literary agent, and she really loves her sister Libby, and Libby wants a new adventure. She wants to try out Sunshine Falls, North Carolina, so Nora, being the good sister she is, agrees to go with her to try it out for 1 month. In that 1 month, she meets a guy named Charlie. He's a book editor. She doesn't really like him when she first meets him, and they meet multiple times, but over time, they end up talking, like hanging out more, and they both discover that they really like each other. And this book, my laptop is falling. This book is so good. I think it's my favorite of Emily Henry's, which is crazy because I don't think many people talk about this one as much as they do the other ones. But I just loved it so much. I loved the characters. I loved their relationship. They were so interesting. I love when books have like witty humor or sarcastic. So this is really good if you like those types of books. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I'm on a roll with all of these books that I have physically. The next book I read is A Court of Wings and Ruin. This is the 3rd book in the ACOTAR series. Again, if you know, you know. You have to read the other 2 to get to this one. So I'll just skip out on talking about it, but highly recommend ACOTAR, as is everybody else. Now we have the iconic Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is one of the more popular books of hers that I was talking about 5 seconds ago. This one follows Daphne, who gets stumped by her fiance Peter, who's the worst, and she ends up needing a place to live for the foreseeable future. Having nowhere to go, Daphne ends up becoming roommates with Miles, who is the ex-boyfriend of the girl that is her ex-fiance Peter's new fiance. I don't know how I can make that any more confusing, because that was really confusing. So we have Daphne, her ex-fiance Peter. Peter is dating a new woman who he asked to marry, and that woman is the ex-girlfriend of Miles, and Miles is Daphne's love interest. So basically, Daphne and Miles are both done really dirty. They're both broken up with, so that Peter and, I can't remember the fiance's name, but Peter and the fiance could be together. And since she has nowhere to live, she asks Miles if she can just live with him, he agrees without even knowing each other. And at first he's really grumpy, he doesn't really talk to her, so she kind of just stays to herself. They each honestly just stay to their own rooms. But in an effort to try to make their exes jealous, they decide to fake date. And this effort kind of works because their exes were in fact jealous. Well, mainly Peter was. Anyway, so throughout the book, if you can guess how it works, they end up falling in love and they end up being together. I really like this book. It also has kind of like the same witty humor that I think all of her books have, so I enjoyed that. I think it's kind of the same thing that happened with Just for the Summer, because people were hyping it up so much. I had a greater expectation of it, and I don't think that it was fulfilled. I don't necessarily think that's Emily Henry's fault. But, I mean, that's just how it goes. I still really enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Again, still recommend. Really good. I think I just preferred book lovers. Running right back to the Boys of Tommen series, we have the third book in the series, which is called Saving Six. This one is about Joey. So I talked a little bit earlier about Shannon's brother, older brother. His name is Joey Lynch. He is going through it. He also faces a lot of the abuse. However, he also has drug problems and alcohol problems that he struggles with. He meets a girl named Aoife Malloy when he was really young. So he works at a mechanic shop, and Aoife is his boss's daughter. So this story just kind of goes through their journey, really tough journey of becoming a couple, lot of low moments, and it's just such a sad story. I don't know, it's just super sad to hear his perspective of everything and just how much he tried to take care of the family as best as he could, not even having a good example of that. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know, I think it was just because it was so sad that for most of the story I was just like, is that ever going to get better for him? I don't know. We have Redeeming Six, which is a continuation of the last one of Joey's story. And I guess it's kind of similar to how Shannon and Johnny's story went, where they didn't necessarily get together the first book, but they do end up together in the second book. So I won't give any spoilers if you haven't read the first one, but just know it was also very good, and 4 out of 5 stars. Still on the Boys of Tommen series, we have Taming Seven, which is Chloe and Gerard, or Gibbsie's story. Chloe, if you've read in the other books, she's just a ball of sunshine, the sun personified, basically. And then we have Gibbsie, who is super funny. He really comes off as the class clown. He just wants to make everybody laugh. But in this story, we go into his not so sunshiny past. Yeah, so he had really tough childhood in terms of things that he went through. There are themes of sexual assaults in here, so I would be aware of that. Honestly, check the trigger warnings for all of the Boys of Tommen series books. I forgot to mention that earlier. But I really enjoyed his book. I was super excited to hear about them because I just loved their dynamic. I think I didn't like it as much I definitely didn't like it as much as Johnny and Shannon, but I mean, I still enjoyed it. It was a good read. I was interested in these characters from the other 4 books that we had heard about them from, and I gave the story 4 out of 5 stars. This next book that I read, 5 stars across the board. I loved it so much. It's One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. This is the second book to her other story. I think it's called Every Summer After. It is amazing. It's about Alice. And Alice, when she was 17, she spent the summer in the cottage in the lake, Barry's Bay. She loves photography, and she ended up taking a picture that was her most well-known picture of 3 people in a yellow speedboat. And those 3 people were the same characters from the book Every Summer After: Charlie, Sam, and Percy. After that, she just goes on about life. So we see her in present time. She's older, she is a more established photographer, and her grandma actually ends up either breaking or injuring her hip, and so she decides to spend time with her grandma, help take care of her in the same cottage in Barry's Bay. And the new guy that oversees the cottage is Charlie from the last book. Basically, they just end up spending time together since he oversees everything that goes on the cottage. He kind of shows her around the lake and everything, and they're just so cute. I love their relationship so much. I loved the little kind of push and pull that they had. It was just so interesting to read. I love them as characters, so of course I was rooting for them. And yeah, I mean, he ends up finding out that she actually took a picture of him and his brother and sister-in-law. So it's just really cool to see it all tied together. 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Picking Daisies on Sundays by Leanna Kincaldi. This one is about a girl named Daniela Daisy Maria. And she in high school had a childhood best friend. His name was Levi. And they used to do everything together up until one prom where she thinks that she told him that she loved him, even though in reality she technically didn't. And she felt like rejected by him. After that, they don't speak at all until one day they both find themselves at a bar and she ends up having to be his fake girlfriend for his sister's wedding. And yeah, throughout the whole story, they're kind of just mending their relationship. You see what actually happened as to why they stopped talking to each other. Now, this communication annoyed me a little bit. I think a lot of times in books, sometimes the communication is just so obvious and like any normal person would actually talk about this, but because it's a book they try to prolong it, hence like over multiple years. So then I don't know, it just gets bigger and they just get more upset at each other, I guess, as time goes on until they finally tell each other what actually happened. And then I mean, overall I still enjoyed the book. I thought it was cute. We realized why the book is called Picking Daisies on Sundays. I would recommend it as a fun little light read. Next we have The Night in Question by Kathleen Glasgow and Liz Lawson. This one is a sequel to the Agathas, so I won't go too in depth, but basically same characters, Alice Ogilvy and Iris Adams, and this is right after they have solved the murder mystery from the last book. They end up going to a school dance and boom, a new murder mystery that they must solve, and the queens that they are, they always solve it. So I love this book. It's a murder mystery, it's fun, it's YA. Again, it's not gory or anything, it's not like violent. Highly recommend. 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Body Check by Elle Kennedy. This is also part of one of her series. She has so many. And this one is about Hayden Houston, who is the hockey coach's daughter, and she really wants something different from her ex-boyfriend who can't really seem to get let go of her. And so she ends up dating this guy named Brody, who is on her dad's team. He doesn't know that she's his coach's daughter, but she kind of wants to do something that's temporary, whereas he wants something long-term. You can see where they grapple with that in their relationship, and whatever, they still end up getting together. This book, I don't know, I think just the Elle Kennedy books I don't really enjoy. I don't know what it is about them. I wish that there was more like seeing the characters getting together and just really falling in love. I feel like it was so quick. Just how, I don't know, just like how quickly she was agreeing to be with him. Because I feel like they didn't really know each other that well. I feel like it happened too fast. So for that, I can only give it 3 stars. Next up we have When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This one is also very popular. I think maybe a couple years ago. It's about a really famous pop star named Amelia Rose. She really wants a change from her pop star life, so she decides that she's going to spend some time on vacation, and she goes to Rome, but not Rome in Italy. She goes to Rome, Kentucky, which is a small town. She decides to drive over there at night, and she ends up having some car problems where she can't get to her hotel on time, and so she parks right outside the really good-looking guy's house named Noah Walker, and he comes out. He's very moody, helpful, because he decides to help her out with her car troubles, and she ends up staying the night in his guest room. And so from there, she's also super sunshiny, so she really tries to get to know him. He can't help but not like her, even though he doesn't want to like her. I really enjoyed this book. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. They're very cute. I liked this plot. I felt like it was a little bit different from the other stuff that I was reading. This next one is a 180 turn from the others. It's called I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I'm sure if you look at books, like on the internet, you've heard about this one. Or if you're just a Nickelodeon fan, This one is Gemma Curdy's memoir about the struggles of her family issues, mainly her mom, how she got started on Nickelodeon and on acting in general. And this book is just really, really sad to hear about. It was also very interesting to learn about where she came from, how she got her start in acting, how she really didn't want to be an actress. It was really just pushed upon her, and just all the issues that she has had to come to terms with and face that will, affect her for the rest of her life. So really, really good book, like very well written. Yeah, she described things so well. You could really feel like you were in the story. Really, really liked it. Really recommend it. 5 out of 5 stars. I just wish Gemma Curdy the best. The next one I'm going to talk about is called The Cheat Sheet, also by Sarah Adams. And this one is about Nathan and Bree, who are best friends. Bree is a ballerina for a little ballet school that she opened up. Nathan is the star quarterback in the NFL. He is caught on camera saying something that makes her sound like they're together, but they're not technically together, so they have to fake date for a little while. He comes up with this cheat sheet to try to win her over. They get together and they end up getting married, which is crazy, how quickly it was happening. That was one of the things about this book that I was like, okay, I understand that they've been friends for years, but the engagement and the wedding just boom, so fast. So that kind of threw me off. I would give it a low 4 stars. So I guess high 3 stars. Guys, we're almost done here. Just a few more books. The next one I read is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This one is part of the Say You'll Remember Me book series, number 1 though. It has the main characters Xavier Rush and Samantha. I can't remember her last name. Xavier is a veterinarian, and Samantha takes this cat that she found to the vet because it really needs help, and he comes off also very broody, kind of standoffish, but somehow by the end of it, he basically asks her out on her date, and so she agrees to go. Their date goes really well. They go on the boat, then they go, I think, to mini golf with some friends, and then they go on an escape room where they end up getting stuck, and they really connect here. They realize that they really like each other and that they would have a really good relationship. But the problem is that she is moving from, I think it's Michigan, to California literally the next day, and so they decide to try out the long distance thing. It's really hard for them. Then they kind of break up. Then they realize that that's even harder, so then they end up getting together. The reason why she moves to California is because her mom has Alzheimer's, so she's trying to help her family support and take care of the mom, and she also wants to obviously spend as much time as she can with her. So that's also what makes it really hard. Money is tight, so they can't really see each other much. A lot of things going on. So I really, really liked this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I hope I'm saying that right. And this one is about a woman named Alicia Berenson who has a seemingly perfect life. She has a husband. This book kind of reminds me of Chicago. Anyway, it's also kind of a murder mystery / thriller. Alicia's husband, Gabriel, comes in late one night and she ends up shooting him 5 times. Nobody knows why, because after that she is completely silent. Theo Faber is a psychotherapist who is really interested in Alicia's story. He wants to try to get her to speak, to try to understand what really happened that night. Was it really her that killed him, or was it somebody else? And she's currently, I think it's kind of like a mental hospital, and he starts a new job there, so he basically tries to meet with her, have multiple sessions with her to get a little bit closer to uncovering what really happened that night. And he does so not only by speaking to her, but also using any hints that he can to try to speak to anybody that knew her before the murder. There's a really big plot twist towards the end that really caught me off guard. It kind of changed the way I felt about one of the characters, I guess you could say. I don't want to say too much. But yeah, so I don't know, that kind of just changed it for me. I kind of wish that the person that ended up being, I I don't know, the person that ended up being a part of the plot twist wasn't a part of it, but I mean, that's just how the story went. I still enjoyed it. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I'd recommend it. The last book, I don't have much to say. I was honestly just trying to read it so that I could get to my 25 book reading goal. So I would really just read the plot because it's kind of like a self-help book-ish. It's called The Four Agreements, A Practical Guide to Personal Freedom. If you're interested in these kind of books, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I just don't really gravitate towards these. So basically, the author, Miguel, reveals a source of self-limiting beliefs that rob us of joy and create needless suffering, offers a powerful code of conduct that can rapidly transform our lives through a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love. Again, it was a quick book. I was just trying to read it to get to my goal. But I mean, still, like, if you're interested in it, why not? I give it 4 out of 5 stars. You could learn a couple lessons from it. That is the end of my reading wrap-up. This took me an hour to do. I'm really tired now. I really wanted to get this video out for you guys, so I hope that you enjoyed it. I had a really good reading year. I feel like I read a lot of common books or well-known books. I hope you guys like this video. I will continue reading, so you'll see me again this time next year. But in the meantime, I'll see you all very soon. Bye!